I'm Anthony Elmore, President and Founder of the proud Black Buddhist World Association. My lecture today is White Racism Took Over Buddhism. The original people of India were black people. India was conquered by white people who took over Buddhism. The whites created new Buddhism, whereas they changed the Buddha from black to white. This new Buddhism was called Mahayana Buddhism. This is the time in history where Buddhism became separated by race, culture, and language. What you must understand is how did India, a black nation, come to be ruled by white skin and develop a caste system? Just Google the Kushan Empire. This is the history, whereas for the first time in human history, India, a black nation, was conquered by Indo-Aryan or white people. Please understand that 4 branches of white people or Indo-Aryans came into the India. This is why we have 4 branches of the Shakas that came to India, and the number of Vedas are also 4. You see, the teachings of Hinduism or the teachings of these white people are false teachings called the Vedas, or they're called the Hindu Vedas. These white people or Indo-Aryans having conquered black people in India, they created the caste system. The white people who came to India created what is called the Vedic culture. Vedic culture is the teachings of the Vedas, which later became known as the Hindu Vedas. Vedic Brahmins created a myth in society. If you go through Brahmanical literature, we find nothing except myths and illusions all through. The Vedics, or rather the Hindu Brahmins, who occupied the apex of the social pyramid, or rather they who were in charge of India, could not tolerate their historical inferiority because they knew that if people came to know that the Brahmanical or the Hindu culture came after Buddhism, their Vedas, gods and goddesses, would show them as inferior to Buddhism or to black people. So the Brahmins, or rather the Hindu, rewrote the history, and they composed lies and fraud. One such fraud is the Aryan invasion theory, whereas they write about some super white man who came into India, and they write that there was a 1,000-year war called the Mahabharata, whereas whites conquered the India's black people and put them in a caste system. This false story is the basis for white superiority and racism. This is what all black people should know about Buddhism. Genetic science recently revealed that the caste system began only 1900 years ago. What else happened 1900 years ago? This is the time in history whereas Indo-Europeans, or rather the Kushan or the white people, conquered India. Evolving concurrent in India with the caste system was Mahayana Buddhism, a new Buddhism created by the Brahmins, or a white Buddhism separated by race, culture, and language. Just a few hundred years after Mahayana Buddhism disappeared, in the Gupta era, from Mahayana Buddhism evolved the golden age of Hinduism. This is known as the Vakam era, or is associated with Chandragupta Vakamdiya, a king of the Gupta dynasty. This was the golden period of Hinduism. It is called so because Sanskrit was made the state language in place of Pali, the language of the Buddhists. So you can understand the vacuum era is associated with the extermination of Pali and replaced with Sanskrit. This is when Buddhism totally died. People could not speak Sanskrit. You could not promote Buddhism in Sanskrit. Only the Mahayanas or the Brahmins could read Sanskrit. Sanskrit was never a spoken language in India, and the people could not learn Buddhism because it was spoken in Sanskrit. This is one of the ways they killed Buddhism in India. Now, we mentioned earlier that Buddhism divided itself into 3 different systems. What all black people should know about Buddhism is that of Sanskritization. Sanskritization was used to extricate all black history, culture, and language from the Buddhist teachings. While there exists not one shred of archaeological, anthropological, literary science, genetic science, or linguistic science of white people, Aryan culture, Hinduism, or Sanskrit in India entered the Buddhism, it was taught to us not only by our Japanese teachers, but it is written that Hinduism is the world's oldest religion and Sanskrit is the world's oldest language. And we read about the falsehood of the Vedas and about the Asian Aryan invasion theory in India. You see, what black people do not know about Buddhism is the relationship between Buddhism and Africa. Not only does science prove that all humans come from Africa, we have conclusive evidence of Africans called Kushites who travel and set up kingdoms around the world. This is what all black people should know about Buddhism. The black Buddhist teachings were not only taken from the Buddhist teachings, whites and Asians took Buddhist teachings from the world history. This was done to promote white superiority and racism. We quoted earlier that British historian Sir Godfrey Higgins wrote that all the Western mysticism comes from the Buddhist religion. You see, in order to promote white supremacy, white historians had to characterize black people as primitive, uncultured, uncivilized, and uneducated in order to prove white supremacy. Black Buddhist history had to be extricated not only from Buddhist history, but black history had to be extricated from world history if white people are going to perpetrate the fraud of white superiority. You see, let us get into black Buddhist history and connect it to Africa. You see, Africa and India was always interconnected. You see, Buddhists in India were called Naga or snake people. The snake is the symbol or logo of Buddhists. We see the snake or Naga as a symbol of medicine. The snake stands for wisdom. This comes from Buddhism. You see, in Egypt, we see Egyptians with the snake or Naga that represents their Buddhist practice. You see, when you look at the Egyptians and you see the snake, these people were Buddhists, but they don't teach us this. You see, please note that English Egyptologist Sir William Matthew Flanders Petrie found evidence of a Buddhist colony in Egypt that dates back to the Persian period. Buddhists were called Naga in India and Nubian in Africa. See, the Naga and the Nubians are one and the same people.